Hello, everybody.
Chris, did you need to talk to him?
Briefly, yeah.
They weren't talking, that's why I figured out. Okay, there you go, Dad.
Judge, Chris just went into a breakout with Mr. Henshaw. He is at the Greenwood County Courthouse. I don't think he's in custody.
Well, he's supposed to be on a no bond hold.
This is the gentleman, I believe, that Sheriff Samuels sent an email about.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to print those to bring them to you, or?
No.
Okay.
He didn't get OR'd out though.
He's on GPS and he had a violation on 12/15 because I received it from Green Feather.
And that is the email that I'm actually looking at right now that I am going to bring into you.
All right, we're gonna go on the record in State of Kansas versus Stephen Henshaw. We'll need Mr. Henshaw available.
I think we need it. If you could pull him back, Amy. I think he probably doesn't know how to get out of the breakout room.
I can't close that. Well, maybe I can force him back in. I'm sorry. I'm learning something.
All right, Mr. Henshaw appears at the Greenwood County Courthouse. He's apparently on bond. He has previously failed to appear. He appears today. We are scheduled for sentencing. Ms. Teal, back in June, when this case was scheduled for sentencing and he failed to appear, submitted a PSI on June 12th of 2023. I'm going to assume it's still current, or I hope it is. So that we can potentially go to sentencing today. Mr. Ambrose appears as his attorney and Ms. Gillette on behalf of the state. We also have Ms. Teal, who did the PSI. We have, I think, his bondsman, Mr. Kirkman, that maybe was subject to the motion for judgment on bond that was scheduled today. Or perhaps he's rebonded him. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out in a minute. But Mr. Ambrose, have you had an opportunity to visit with your client since he got picked up?
Briefly, Your Honor, and what we're going to ask for is this, and it's frankly because this is a border box case. We had gotten contacted by Mr. Henshaw at the beginning of the week. I had looked at his PSI because, frankly, this has been quite a while since we've had any movement on this case. Saw his PSI, saw that it was a border box case. We had given him instruction to get a drug and alcohol evaluation scheduled as quickly as humanly possible because we need it for any border box arguments. He got that scheduled for tomorrow. I understand that this case is long in the tooth, Judge, but so I can make the arguments I need. I'm going to be requesting a continuance on this when next time we can get me here with you, so we can get him sentenced at that point. But for me to do what I need to do, I need that evaluation. And so that would be our request today, and that is scheduled for tomorrow. So hopefully by the time I'm back in the office at the beginning of the year, I should have it.
Okay, well, there's been developments that didn't necessarily involve you directly, Mr. Ambrose, or you weren't privy to them. And I need to figure out who's on first. So 6/15 of 2023, he failed to appear for sentencing. There was a continuance requested because he was trying to get an inpatient. You of course asked for continuance on his behalf. I said no, not the day of court and sentencing. Court denied the request for continuance. He did not appear, and I issued a bond forfeiture bench warrant. I held it until noon the next day, and if he didn't appear, I ordered a no bond hold. At some point last week when he or the week before, when he finally got picked up, Amy just put the case on where the bond forfeiture or the motion for judgment on bond was scheduled for the next phase of his case, which was sentencing. Located the PSI, and I got a call from the sheriff at some point because he had a open wound that was giving them a little bit of concern. He was being treated in the jail. Sometimes they'll ask that someone be OR'd out so that it's not at the taxpayer's expense for something that was pre-existing or happened, unrelated to their day. But at any rate, I think the only thing I said was, if he ORs out, it needs to be at least 5,000, and he has to be on a GPS ankle monitor if it doesn't interfere with his open wound. And I advised the sheriff, Samuels, that the case was very quickly scheduled. He wasn't sure when he was up for hearing, but it was less than 2 weeks away, so possibly just a week away. I can't remember, but at any rate, I'm not sure now what's transpired on the motion for judgment. I'm not sure what kind of bond he's under, because there are no notes that printed up out of the computer as to any additional things that were done. There were some emails, but last I understood, Sheriff Samuels was just going to leave him in custody since his sentencing was rapidly approaching. But I need to be up to date on what's happened before I make a decision on a continuance. And now I'm being told that he's out, he's on bond. I don't know to who or how much. And he has a reported violation of his EMD because he had a dead battery on 12/15 of 24 at 12:42 p.m. and they weren't able to communicate with him until 8:28 p.m. So there was not quite 8 hours, but close to it, of unknown whereabouts of him due to insufficient charging, which is his responsibility. So who would like to update me on this case, please? Ms. Gillette?
I'll give you the updates that I have, Your Honor. He was bonded in July 22nd, 2020, and he gave us an address of 4117 Wildflower Street. That is the address we had to serve. That is where we served him. That mail came back unclaimed. When he bonded in December 10th, 24, with Florio Fast Out bail bonds, and he was put on GPS, had to go to court, contact court services for PSI next business day on 12/11/24, must have GPS. So he was put on with Green Feather monitoring, and Mr. Florio puts those on for Green Feather, and then they keep us updated. Ms. Wilson sent the violation email on 12/17/24, which was just 7 days later. So battery comes back as dead, doesn't come on till 8/28. And I know Green Feather works with everyone if they call and they have a charger problem or any kind of problems. Mr. Kirkman's here because he was on a bond that was set for today, which was the prior bond, the July bond, and then he's been rebonded since then due to his wound. He was here 12/10/24 on first appearances in front of Judge Satterfield on the bond date. He had the open wound that was giving concerns to the sheriff's office. He had issues. The nurse was to be evaluating his needs. He had screws and plates that had be taken care of. And so, he needed to get a hold of court services to update his PSI, from before. And so those are kind of basically the update. Judge Webster at his first appearance, and Mary Ann filled in for me that day, Your Honor. I was in a trial or out of the office on 12/10 for an appointment. So Mary Ann appeared that day because I was tied up. But that's how we got to where we are today. We're already having problems with him reporting appropriately. He was
Okay, hang on just a minute. Hang on. That's just a lot of information. So hold on just a minute so I can get the essentials that I need. So you said 12/10, I saw him on an appearance.
Webster saw him on first.
Okay, you said me, and I didn't remember seeing him on 12/10. So
Web-
Judge Webster saw him on 12/10, knowing that he was scheduled today on 12/19 for a motion for judgment on bond and whatever else need to be done on this case, such as this sentencing that has been lingering. Anyway, what did she order on 12/10 of 24?
The notes state that he was to contact court services the next day on 12/11 to update his PSI, and that he would be set for 12/19/24, which was the bond forfeiture date that had been given. He had an accident in July. He has open wounds and screws and plates that have to be watched, and he was having to have different medical needs of it. And so he was given GPS, and the bond is actually issued on 12/10. The bond is by Florio, Fast Out Bail Bonds, and it has must go to court, contact court services for the PSI on the next business day, 12/11, and must have GPS on so that we could track him.
Did the judge order GPS?
Yes.
Because I won't enforce a bondsman's GPS tracking. If a bondsman has a contractual agreement with somebody he bonds to be on GPS, which they apparently do, that's outside of my realm or jurisdiction. Their leverage is if they violate GPS, pick them up, take them into jail, turn them in, and ask that they be relieved and discharged from their bond obligation. If the court orders GPS and there is a violation, then that is a court matter. So that's what I was trying to find out is who gave him a bond, what kind of bond, who's on the bond, and who ordered the GPS.
It was my belief that Judge Webster ordered the GPS, but again, I was not at the hearing. Mary Ann was, so I was in a jury trial that day.
So what is the bond amount for Florio?
The Florio bond is 5,000. It looks like cash or surety for him, and those were the conditions written on the bond. And he gave a different address on that bond than we had on the prior bond, and his address had not been upkept with us.
All right, I'm seeing that. Okay. So with regard, I'm not sure if I have a copy of the motion for judgment on bond or not.
That's the appearance bond.
Yes, you did,
Okay.
you did. I found it.
And just so
It's
you
just I got too many bondsmen and too much going on that I can't tell because there's no notes.
this is, I
Who-
printed out the notes from Webster.
Okay,
That's that very top one.
okay.
And these are the emails that he.
Somebody literally,
Her note reflects what?
That note reflects
like, Camden, she had come to town and because she was sticking.
Yeah, I said he could do an OR with GPS, but his last reply to me was, never mind. He's going to sentencing soon. So I'm still trying to figure out who ordered him out. Okay. No. He's out any way you look at it. So what do you want to do on this motion for judgment on bond that has Mr. Kirkman on the hook with AAA Butler County bail bonds that's $2,500 that's from a prior failure to appear?
Judge will be withdrawing that because he was arrested on the warrant
Okay.
before judgment hearing.
Okay, so I will the note should reflect that is withdrawn. The motion for judgment, often referred to as MJB, withdrawn. You're free to go, Mr. Kirkman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I think that's the only one I have today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So it appears that he's on a 5,000 cash or surety, which is, if that's what the sheriff wanted for him to get medical attention, that was fine. The last note I got was, never mind. SO is not now requesting OR since sentencing so soon. So maybe that 5,000 OR got misconstrued as a surety with GPS and he got bonded out. But at any rate, we are where we are. Now, I do understand that there's this violation. We can address that in a minute. But what is your position on continuing his sentencing so that he can get this evaluation supposedly tomorrow, which I don't know who verified it, but I want it verified. So he can get this evaluation done so that his attorney can make appropriate border box arguments. Ms. Gillette?
I have some reservations. He is here today at the courthouse, so that's in his favor. He needs to understand he has to keep his GPS monitor on at all times. That's a privilege, not a right, to be out there. Especially when you've had failures to appear. So, I understand Mr. Ambrose's argument that he needs that. But the defendant has had plenty of time to be going and getting an eval. I would say that for Mr. Ambrose purposes of arguments, I understand he will need it. And I would agree because of Mr. Ambrose asking not on any part of a defendant's ask, but for Mr. Ambrose, he has to do his due diligence.
Is there any way for us to ascertain whether this GPS was ordered by a judge or by the bondsman at this point? Because I don't even see a note where Judge Webster set a bond. What I'm looking at from 12/10 of 24 says no bond hold, needs to see Judge Satterfield to adjust the bond. So I think there was some confusion on, I authorized a 5,000 OR if needed for medical attention at the discretion of the sheriff, so long as he had a GPS on, so long as it did not interfere with his medical treatment. In other words, as long as it wasn't dangerous to his health wherever this open wound is located. I think, I thought that got nixed since we were having an upcoming hearing and he'd be in custody. But I think what may have happened is the jail construed it as a $5,000 surety instead of OR and GPS. And I think that's what he's out on.
I have notes where there were arguments for a bond in front of Webster, but again, I wasn't there. If I was there, I'd be able to tell you, but I was in jury trial. So I don't know what the arguments were in front of Judge Webster. And her notes aren't very clear on that. So without going back and reviewing the hearing or asking for a transcript of that hearing. I know they let the judges watch prior hearings. Sometimes they'll give us access to them, but that's,
Well, like I said, it's very clear. A note says that she told them, she told the detention officer to get with the nurse and administration, and if this was true, they could contact Judge Satterfield and see if she would adjust the bond. And I just told you what my conversation was with the sheriff. There was never a formal hearing. So I don't think I can proceed, especially without a motion on file to find him in violation of his EMD, with evidence of it being a direct order of the court. Maybe the bondsman could tell us. But I think it happened just the way I said it did, in as much as it got construed to be a 5,000 surety, not OR, and needed EMD, and that's where he's at. But if I haven't directly ordered him on EMD, I'm not going to violate him at this juncture. But Mr. Henshaw, I'm
Yes.
getting tired of messing around with you.
I get it.
Do you not understand that I have the discretion to send you to prison, and I have the discretion to not send you to prison?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you think it'd be better to come before me and make an argument that you are a good candidate for probation when you show up, when you're supposed to get your evaluations done and do what you're supposed to? Don't you think that that would put you in a better position to ask for probation?
100%.
So do you think if I let you stay on bond and get your evaluation tomorrow, if I find out that you didn't complete the evaluation, or there was no such appointment scheduled, and or you don't appear next month for your sentencing date, do you think it's probably a pretty good likelihood that I'm going to issue a warrant for you and send you to prison?
That's not what I'm going for, Your Honor. I've had a rough year. I'm not going to lie about it, with the car wreck with the semi and everything. It has been rough. I haven't been able to walk very good. Not to mention the mental aspect of it. It really kind of beat me up too, you know. But I'm getting better. I'm getting better about everything. I got a license. I got a car to make it to court dates. And that's all stuff I didn't have prior, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I would be grateful for the opportunity.
Okay, well, you're going to have to demonstrate to me that you are committed, that you are responsible, and that you will follow through and do as you're ordered and directed. That includes charging up your equipment. Little
Yes.
things like that.
Oh,
Charging
man,
your equipment.
this thing, man. I've never been real good with technology, Your Honor. But this thing don't even have like a battery life percentage on it. It don't have nothing like that. It says it vibrates when you get down to 30%. How long is 30%? I don't know. And I don't know. This thing is technical.
Okay, if your gas light comes on and says needs gas, do you stop and get gas?
Yes, man. Sometimes, you know, I'm kind of hard-headed. But yes, and I will. I just,
Okay.
it seems like same thing. I'll do it. I promise. And if it happens again, I'll just
Okay.
come right up here.
Okay,
But
because I am ordering you today, without a doubt, on EMD, and any reported violation will result in a pickup order where you will be picked up and taken back into custody. And
I will
again,
take,
I'm going to consider those things at the time of sentencing,
yes, ma'am.
so you won't be helping yourself. All right, let's
I'll
get
take
this
care of it.
thing rescheduled. It's going to take probably 30 days to get a report. No drugs, no alcohol. Do not violate the law. Keep your address updated with the sheriff's office, please, where you're living. And we will reschedule this for sentencing, I'm hoping on February the 6th. Does that work for you, Mr. Ambrose?
Could we use 1 p.m. on that?
Yep.
Okay, that'll work, Your Honor.
that's the 116, Your Honor.
February the 6th, Jill.
Oh,
Yes.
2/6 at 1.
Yes. Mr. Henshaw. Shaw. I'm ordering you to appear at the courthouse for your sentencing in this matter on February the 6th at 1 o'clock at the Greenwood County Courthouse. Mr. Ambrose, I will accommodate you by Zoom, but I want your client at the courthouse.
Yes, Your Honor.
2022 CR 100. Okay, now, Ms. Teal, do you believe that you need to meet with him and that you need to update the PSI? Are you able to run specific time periods from when you did the PSI to today to see if he's picked up any additional charges?
Yes, Your Honor, I can check that out.
Okay.
I do want to note for the court that this officer's not heard from him since he was picked up this December, and neither had Greenwood County officers. They wrote me a note letting me know the sheriff had contacted them about him being released and being ordered to contact us. So.
Okay.
So do you want me to contact you today? I mean, I can do it today. I wasn't aware that I was, last I heard, they said my PSI was supposed to be good, I thought, but.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna put you, your attorney, Ms. Teal, and Ms. Stanfield in a breakout room for you to confirm what he needs to do from here, who he needs to report to, if anyone, that he needs to sign releases so that you can get a report where he's getting this evaluation done and all of the particulars, okay? All
Yeah,
right.
the bond he signed does specifically say contact court services for PSI on next business day, 12/11/24. He signed it.
Okay.
I have a lot going through my head, you know.
All right, let's, I've
I'll do better.
rescheduled the sentencing. Let's get this all done so it can be done and over with in February.
Yes, sir.
And you're talking about an order from June that he was ordered to do this, right?
No, December 10th. December 10th, when he bonded, his bond specifically says must contact CSO next business day on 12/11/24.
I must have missed that. I apologize. I don't know how I missed it, but
The Florio Fast Out bond written 12/10 does it.
Well, I know, but I got to stem from a court order, so I got to find the court order that says that. I mean, a bondsman can write on a bond, stand on your head, but the only thing that are bond conditions are those that are ordered by the judge or adopted by an administrative order as standard bond conditions, which are generally just in the actual format of the bond. Special conditions, go to court, contact court services for PSI on next business day, 12/11/24. So I don't know how you got information that your PSI was done or everything was good on your.
Your Honor,
PSI.
me?
No. Mr. Hinshaw.
no, I'm sorry, I missed it. I was thinking about my GPS thing. I was thinking about, I have about a million thoughts running through my head, and I do apologize, but
And Mr. Judge, we'll get in there and make sure that he's lined up with all
right.
expectations. Thank
All
you.
right.
thank you, Mr. Amber.
Well, I am going to add, I'm going to officially order today from the bench that he contact Ms. Teal, that he contact Ms. Stanfield, that he provide them whatever information they need, sign any consents that they need, make sure he shows up for his evaluation, and make sure he has good contact information provided to everyone, including Mr. Ambrose, and that he reappears for his sentencing date in February. Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
I love you guys. Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.